Hey, I'm Mark,
And I'm Craig.
and this is Songwriter's Tales.
Yeah,
Craig, Artist Spotlight Series.
it's always the best.
It's pretty cool. This one's cool. John DeRosa and Cece Colletti.
Cece Colletti. But before we talk about them, I want to remind everybody out there to like, subscribe, comment, share, and get this podcast out. We're working for you, so we'd love to just hear from you. Hey, listen, Mark, these two people they live in New Jersey. They're in Jersey, baby.
Jersey.
They are Jersey musicians, and John just won an award in Nashville, traveled all the way down there. Man, I mean, they're rocking it. They've got a brand new song they've written, a patriotic song, and this is the world debut on this show.
One of them used to sing with a very famous beefy guy. I'll just leave it at that.
I know who you're saying.
Yeah.
All right. Well, what do you say, Mark?
I say let's do it. Hey, it's Mark. We are back at Songwriter's Tales. Craig, we have two special guests tonight, and this is another one of our Artist Spotlight series. My favorite, your favorite.
Yeah,
we
man.
love these. We love these. Introduce us to our two guests tonight.
Absolutely. Hey, we are so excited to have you guys up from New Jersey. From New Jersey, we have John DeRosa, and you can tell which one John is. And we also have
He's the pretty one.
Colletti. Cece Colletti, and they've got such a great story, Mark. As you know, we had a pre-show chat, so we don't know everything. We're going to get the details even further, but we're excited to have you on the program. I met John through a personal friend of mine down here just north of Atlanta, Georgia. We'll mention him. His name is Bob the Key Guy. So we always like to mention our friends. It guarantees that they'll listen to our show if we tell them that we mentioned them on the show. So Bob will be listening. And so love Bob. So
Bob's awesome.
Let's start. We've got a lot of ground to cover. Let's go ahead and let John start. John, tell us a little bit about yourself, where you were raised, how you got into music and that kind of thing, and then we'll go from there.
Sure. Well, I grew up in New Jersey, and I always loved music. I guess I have proof of that. I'm adopted. The nurse, when I was a baby, sending letters to my mom and dad, said he loves music.
How about that?
So, hey, that was from the beginning there. And growing up, I always loved Elvis and used to sing all the time. But I was actually in my early 20s when I picked up a guitar and literally kind of knew how to play it. It was one of the craziest things. Within weeks, I was in a band, and it kind of never stopped from there. I left here, went all over the place, from South Dakota to San Diego to Sierra Vista, Arizona, Las Vegas. I lived in Puerto Rico for 6 months.
Viva!
So I traveled a lot and met a lot of people. And I wound up, eventually I wound up in Missouri, and I met a young kid. His name is Jamie Teachner. His father's in the Rockabilly Hall of Fame, but now Jamie has multiple gold and platinum records. He's always going to be known because he's the author of The New Space Force, which I'm really proud of him. So they picked his song, but I was his lead guitar player for a long time. And I kind of learned the business through watching him, the fails and the positives.
Yeah. That's the old school. That's like what we did, John. You know, nowadays people get on the YouTube and they watch everybody on there, and that's how they learn their craft and learn, what's right, what's wrong. But we didn't have that luxury, did we? We got, like you saying, you had to have somebody and kind of let them mentor you in a way. That's old school, paying your dues, man. I love that. You know what? You just had, let me read it because I don't want to mess this up. You just won an award. You were just down in Nashville a few weeks back. It was the Producer's Choice Award. So tell us about that. It's pretty exciting.
Yeah, so I wrote a song a few years ago. I was working at the Martin Guitar Factory. That's the cool thing about it. I was night shift at the factory, and I read this story about this soldier who died, and his wife and family came to the Air Force Base to pick up the body, and all they could do was hand the kid the folded flag. And I got really down about it, and I was like, man, there's so many families that go through this. And in that moment, I made a decision. I'm like, I want to write a song, and I want the lion's share of the profit to go to the families if it ever becomes famous. That's what the heck I want. And I want to go in the studio, and I want to writing it. It's called 13, and it just every year it grows and grows and grows. I did a Yankees triple A team. I went and I sang the song on one of their Memorial Day things. And Sparky Lyle was there, and he starts crying, and he comes and hugs me. He said, "I'm so proud of you to have somebody in baseball history touching me like that." I was like, over my song. Well, a lot of the families were there, and they started using this song at funerals now around the
Wow.
world. And so this Producer's Choice Honors Award, it's called out of the Nashville Music Awards series. They found the official video that I had up there, and they gave me the Producer's Choice Honors Award for having one of the best patriotic songs ever.
Wow.
And I'm
And
proud of it.
tell us the title of that tune.
13, the number 13.
And
That's
what's the story behind that besides the
And the
story you just told?
the story is about the 13 folds in the flag
There you go.
and why they put it in the triangle and why so many people have it up on their mantle and, you know, what it means to people.
That is awesome.
That's a
It is
cool
awesome.
story. Cece?
That's my baby. That song's my baby. I was buffing. That's how I wrote it. I'm buffing a guitar, marking guitar, and all of a sudden I think of a thing. I write it down, and next day buffing again, and all of a sudden I think of another verse, write it down, and within a week it became a song.
That sounds like you were chosen to write that one. That's what we always say, you know, you get these ideas and you don't know where they come from, or if you do know where they come from, but we're given these ideas, and sometimes you think, man, I don't know why I got to write this, but I'm glad I'm glad it was me. So that's awesome. That's a great story. Cece, why don't you jump in and tell us a little bit about yourself?
I was, excuse me, I was born in Morristown, New Jersey, raised in Branchburg, New Jersey, still in New Jersey. My very musical family I was brought into. I'm the youngest of 5 children. My mother sang in the choir, church choir. My dad played the guitar. My uncle, my mom's brother, was in a band with my father. My mother used to say we were kind of like the Partridge family. But I got started very young, singing in bars at 19 with my brother Pete. Just honestly, just playing rock and roll in bars, cover songs, and knowing a lot of the same people at the clubs. I ended up meeting a guitar player, Paul, who was playing with Anthrax, and he ended up with Meatloaf because of Pearl, Meatloaf's daughter. It's kinda like it's still a dream to me because I ended up going on tour with Meatloaf for 7 years as his backup singer, and, I had to pinch myself every
Oh,
day 'cause we toured the world. You know, going from 19 years old, singing in clubs and bars, and then just hopping on a plane and going out to London and doing these gigantic shows with legendary Meatloaf was a lot. And then I came home, still performed back and forth home, I should say, really, and recorded 2 original albums with producer Anthony Kryzan from the Spin Doctors, and did 2 great albums with him. And I'm still rocking and rolling. My husband TJ is my bass player, my love. We've been doing it together for many, many years, and it's our passion. And that's a little bit of my story, but you know, still just singing
well,
and
I was gonna say, it's like Craig, I was gonna say, it sounds like, these guys did it the way you did it. You jumped in and started playing bars, and you were playing bars before you were even allowed to play in bars.
Yeah. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
same.
yeah, and I think we were talking to a friend last night, for a podcast, and he was saying that because he did the same thing. He's down near Houston, a fellow named Jeff Canada, who's a really, really cool guy. He was saying the same thing. You just kind of jumped out there and started doing it. And he cut his teeth singing cover tunes for years. And so I think because a lot of the people today don't do that anymore. It's like they get Pro Tools or they get Logic on their laptop, and all of a sudden they're a singing star. And then if they do happen to hit it big, and they get thrown into the okay, now you got to go on tour, and everyone says, oh, they're not very good. And it's like, well, they've never performed.
Yeah.
Ha,
except for in their bedroom to TikTok, and it's, what you guys do is it's like I hate to say old school, but it is old school, but it's the right school. I mean, because you guys are performers. So please tell me Meatloaf was a nice guy, because I've always loved Meatloaf. I would not be happy if he was not a nice guy.
Meatloaf was the best
Okay.
guy ever. Meatloaf
Awesome.
was the
Is
best.
that right? That's the impression you get.
That's the impression I got, and that's what I was hoping you were going to say, because he's always been one of my favorites, and he just
He
seemed
was
like a
he was
really cool
honestly
guy.
yeah, he was like dad on tour. Close that door, please. He was like dad on tour. We were on, I wouldn't say walking on eggshells, but we had to watch what we were doing after the show. We had to say, you know what, would he want us to do this? No.
What would Meatloaf do?
Yeah, even though he was wild, he was crazy. Meatloaf put 110% of everything into every show.
You could tell. You could tell. You could
Yeah,
tell. What a
it's
cool
touching.
thing. What a cool thing for you to, what an experience.
It was the most
That is
amazing
awesome.
experience ever. I mean, like I said, my first day we got there to London, I sat down on my bed in the hotel room. I'm like, "Oh, I'll bring up my own bags." They're like, "No, no, no, we'll bring them up for you." I get a knock on the door. I open the door, like the tour manager, Cheryl, she's like, "Oh, here's your per diem." I'm like, "Hell's per diem?" And open up an envelope. I got a wad of cash. I'm like, I didn't even do
What?
anything. And I just sat down. I literally, I just said, wow, thank you. I had just lost my mom actually that year and my dad the year
Mm,
prior. And I just looked up to God and I said, thank you so much, mommy and daddy, for making this happen because, they were all into music and just,
mm.
wanting us to succeed. But yes, back to Meatloaf. He was amazing. He just
That
was,
is
I tell people it wasn't like the normal background singer job. You see a lot of background singers and they're dressed in the same color, they're doing the same moves. This was
Mhm.
I'm backstage with Patty, my co-singer, and he'd come running in. All right, tonight, Cece, you're gonna do this, and you're gonna come over and you're gonna grab the mic, or whatever it was gonna be. It was all an act. It was all a performance with him. And it was I mean, I'd never acted. I never did anything, and I'm on this giant stage at a young age, and he's giving me prompts to do all this stuff and come out front, and sing with him. I'm so honored and blessed to have had that 7 years of my life with that man. It was just
Wow.
it was
that
amazing.
is that is some great that's some great mentoring right there. I wanna jump over to John for a minute. We're gonna come back because we got more to talk with you about CC regarding the Janis connection because that's that
Ooh.
Mark and I were shocked when we heard your voice, and then when we saw you, we went, wait a minute, that
Yeah,
that
I gotta
voice came
say,
out of her.
I
So
heard the singing before I saw
yeah,
you, and I was like, "Okay, that's not what I expected her to
yeah,
look like."
but we're gonna come
Aw.
back to that. No, we're coming
And
back.
it and I mean that in a good way, but
Yeah, in a good way.
I don't that might have sounded bad the way we said it, but it was
Like,
like
what is this?
I was
John
picturing this really hippie,
John gets it. John understands
and I'm
exactly what we're
like,
saying. So,
"Yeah, no, I'm sure you are," but I was like, "Okay,
all
I
right.
gotta
not
So,
what I
send you guys our
expected."
Christmas song that we did in December. That you'll hear her voice on that.
man, we're gonna have to. So, John, I want to ask you because a lot of the things I listen to you, and you're just playing flat out rock and roll and blues kind of. I mean, your style is really authentic. Tell us. I don't think you did tell us at the intro here. What were your influences growing up as far as just listening to music and everything? Because
Heroes.
yeah,
Sure, I loved Elvis. I love Ricky Nelson.
yeah, you mentioned that. I remember.
This, and that. But like the music that I listen to is Sabotage, Demon, and Darkheart. So
baby.
it's like I don't even, yeah. So I have a huge mix of different songs and different stuff that I personally like to listen to. One of my little perk things that I do is nothing that I play live, I listen to
Okay.
Interesting.
at all. And then here I am thinking I'm creating, I'm playing my own guitar, and I'm like, I got my own style. I got this and that. And they used to call me because I would be in country bands, but I don't play country. So they would call me the executioner because I had a bloody axe guitar that I would come on the country stage and play. My son has that guitar now. And I would but I always thought I had my own way of playing until I heard Gary Moore. I play just like him. I mean, when I heard it, I was like, "How did I emulate this guy?" I thought I created it myself, but nope,
Yeah.
he did it way before I did.
Man.
It
Well,
was
that's-
just soaking. It was just in the ether, and it was just soaking into your veins, and you didn't even know it.
Yeah.
Well, that's
pretty
you know
cool.
what? If you've gotta discover that you're emulating somebody, Gary Moore is not a bad person to be emulating.
No. And he's not around anymore. So
No.
you're the
You
guy.
get to
But
carry
then
the
when he
torch.
died, I was
Yeah, you're it.
devastated because I wanted to meet him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. So let's jump back over to Cece. Cece, talk to us about Janice Joplin. How did that come about?
How'd you end up in a Janice Joplin tribute?
So the tribute thing was big. I actually, we got done with a gig and a normal CC gig, which was just covers and some originals and such, and sat down having a glass of wine, and I was talking to my guitar player, and I said, "Man, the tribute thing is huge, and we've got to hit that market." And what would I do? Since when I started singing at 19, when I started singing out, Janice Joplin's Bobby McGee was the most requested song ever and still is when I go out and
I was
play.
gonna say it still is. Yeah.
I know. It's amazing. I don't know. I just could my brother Pete said, when we started performing, he said you have to do Bobby McGee, and I learned it, and it just felt like home to me. And so I'm like, Janice is what I've got to do. And I listened to more and more of her and just her aching cry when she sang, she just I don't know, she hit home with me, and I love singing her, and they say I do it well and I just, I feel like, I've got the rasp, and I just, I sing with my heart, and life has had a lot of losses in my family, and I just, it's like
Mhm.
she had a lot of pain, and you can hear it in her songs and in her voice, and I guess I can relate in certain ways with her. I love doing Janice, and I've got an amazing band that does it with me. The horn section is unbelievable. The guys I have played with the Rascals, Bon Jovi, Bruce
Okay.
Springsteen. Yeah, so I mean,
Man.
I'm fortunate to have these guys back me on that. So that's my tribute, So it's like, people say, "Oh, you should do like Women of Rock." And I'm just like, "Yeah," and I'm like, "I know Janice doesn't have a ton of hits, she just has the two." I'm like, "Well, not really. If you're a real full blown Janice fan, there's more than just Piece of My Heart and Bobby McGee, So
Right.
experience Janice. Yeah.
Right.
Well,
Experience
I
Janice.
need to do something as the podcaster. I need to make an announcement, as good podcasters will. I need to remind everybody that are listening to like, subscribe, comment, and what, Mark?
Share.
Not sharing.
Not share,
Sonny and
but
share.
share.
Yeah, we need you to do it. Help us get out there. Hey, so I got a Janice thing when I was growing up. So I'm turning 70 this year, and my sister is 4 years older than me. And so when I was of age listening to music, she had all the albums. She had the Janice Joplin out, she had Bee Gees, she had Woodstock and all that. So I was like 4 years ahead of the game at my age. And one of my favorite Joplin tunes. There was something about it. I just had to go over there. I don't remember what track it was, but it was with the drum started. You
You
say
say
that it's
that it's
over,
over,
baby.
baby. You say, hold on.
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
Won't you? Hey, that is authentic.
Yeah, you are authentic. You are
Welcome to my
channeling
vacation,
Janice.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. That was my favorite song.
I was gonna say Janice, what was she, 27 when she died? She was
Yeah,
really
yeah.
young.
Her and Jim Morrison and a bunch of them.
But I just remember thinking, and I didn't listen to her when I was little. Like you, I had a sister that was 4 years older, and she was into the Eagles and Peter Frampton, and so that's kinda where I came up, that lineage, that line, and Fleetwood Mac and things like
Yep.
that. So I discovered Janice later, and I remember the first time I heard it was probably "Piece of My Heart," and I remember thinking, "Man, this," it's an old soul. You listen to him, you think, "Man, this chick has lived 40 years of hard life singing this." And then
I
I
know.
found out she was 27.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
what an old soul. What an old
Right?
soul. But and it's like, it seems like we lose I think of Amy Winehouse, the same kind of thing. It's like,
27.
26, 27, and just so freaking talented, but so tortured and just taken away way too soon.
So many. I want to,
For sure.
you were talking about how music, Cece, you have tragedies in your life and how music just kind of gets you through times and space and periods. We have had, I don't know if John told you, Mark and I have been going down to Zach Brown's place for about 7 years and riding with the veterans down there, with the veterans that he brings in that are, they're trying to get it back together again. And he brings them in, feeds them, puts them up for a week from all over the US. And so we
That's
go in one night a
amazing.
week. And you want to talk about experiences and what we've heard, the stories, but what music does. And this has been a common theme throughout, I won't say every one of our podcasts, but pretty darn near all of them, is that music has a way of healing and reaching places in our spirit that we don't even know exist. Otz Kilcher, if you know who Otz is, he's on the Alaska, the Final Frontier. Jewel, you know the singer Jewel.
Of course, yes.
It's her it's her daddy. It's her daddy, Otz. And we met him we met him at Zach's, and he works with vets, but he has, if you haven't seen the podcast, he's on one of our first podcasts back around January, I think. And man, talk about healing and just, getting in there, and music's just something that, people don't even realize is as powerful as it is. So
It's so
I know
true.
you.
I have an original, excuse me, Craig. I have an original song called You Were My Angel that I wrote for my mom and dad. Like I said, they passed in 1 year apart from each other with cancer. And when I perform
Mm,
that song, I'll always say to people, everyone has had a loss. And please take this song and dedicate it to the one you're thinking of right now. And it's the one song I'm actually singing it next weekend at a celebration of life for a dear friend of mine, and the family asked me to do it. And it's amazing how our music touches people that way. And that's the complete passion and joy and the gratification and the reward we get from this at the end of the day.
that's right. And John, like your song 13.
That's what I was gonna say,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I said this to you earlier, John. It's like sometimes we're given these songs, and I'll tell a very short story along the exact same lines. I was with a friend one day, and we were trying to come up with a song, and nothing was coming. And we were talking, and it ended up that my stepbrother and one of his best friends were both in car accidents and were drunk. They were drunk, and they ended up being in comas. And so we wrote this song called Just to Say Goodbye. I actually recorded the demo at Craig's studio. And I always thought, why not, it's not a song that's going to get cut. I mean, it's pretty, but anyway, so we're playing it one night. We're at this place called the Freight Room, and it was a bunch of songwriters, and we got up and did this song. And after we were done, this 50, 60-year-old man came over and hugged me. And I was like, "Hey, how are you? Nice to meet you. Didn't know this guy." And he was crying, and he said, "It's almost like you wrote this song about my son."
Oh,
And I mean, other than the name, everything you said in there is exactly what we went through. And when he left, my co-writer and I were like, "Well, I guess we know why we were supposed to write that song, because he said I'd never been able to even cry about it, and I cried like a baby tonight. So I just want to thank you." And he gave us a hug, and we were like, I mean, we were tearing up too, because it's like, because we're like, well, I guess that's why we wrote it. because, you know, we don't know sometimes why we write these songs. And Craig was talking about writing with the veterans. When he first said, "Hey, man, come down and help me write songs with the veterans." And I was like, "Why do you write songs with veterans?" It didn't occur to me. He said, "No, it's like therapeutic." And I was like, "Okay." And all it took was one time doing it to realize, oh, I get it. I get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you see tough soldiers, you see a Marine break down in tears when he's, you know, talking about something, and you're like, whoa. But it all came through the music.
Yeah.
And
And
that's a
one of our
beautiful thing.
co-writers is in a Gold Star family. You know, his brother was killed, and yeah, so we've seen some stuff. I want to move into this next segment here, if it's okay with everybody.
Mhm.
You've got a song that you and Cece have done, John, and it's called "Stand for the Flag." You
Yep.
sent it to me, and I passed it on to Mark, and man, we want you to talk all about it.
Well, I was going to ask you how you got Janice Joplin to sing on that
Yeah,
song.
really.
It was great. Man, after I did 13, many people kept on asking me to write another patriotic song. 13, like I said, is my baby. You know, I did it. I'm an emotional writer. I just can't, I'll never do a TV jingle. You know, it's not in me. And um, I had met a guy that I've known, I do metal detecting hobby. And I've known this guy for 30 years. And we were talking, and I was running it by him about songs. So we started talking and shooting lyrics back and forth. And then somebody had asked me again. I kind of forgot about it and kind of put it to the side. And I was like, you know something? You know, everybody keeps on asking me to write this song. And then one day I was sitting here thinking, you could count all the men, patriotic singers that are out there, but there's no famous, anyway, female patriotic song from the perspective of the woman. I mean, there's females that sing patriotic songs, but it's just a patriotic song. This is a song about a mom and what she goes through and the feelings that they got. And immediately, as Stand for the Flag and the chorus started coming in, Cece was already in my head because it's like, I wanted the I wanted the cry. I wanted the heart that I know Cece has. And you could hear it and when she's singing that song. I'm getting shivers now thinking about it
Well,
because it gets
I was
freaking
going to
amazing.
ask you, can we tag it at the end of this and put it out so that people can hear it at the end of this podcast?
Absolutely, absolutely. You
Yeah.
guys have the world premiere of this song.
Well, that would be great. That would be great. Yeah, again, you know, when you can tell when someone's writing or when someone's singing just to sing, or when someone's writing or singing with emotion, and when they're, you know, and it's a beautiful performance. So, and it's also, you know, good on both of you.
You know what?
And
I'm gonna add something. John, you probably know this, but and I'm sure Cece knows this. John has the heart of a producer. You hear it in his conversation, Mark, you know, where he was saying, you know, he's a good producer is not just thinking about the lyrics when there's a songwriter or just the chords. He's thinking about who can make this song, you know,
who's
and
going to
just
bring it to life? Yeah.
yeah. That's cool, man.
Mhm.
And when
I
John
love it.
approached me with this song, I was blown away. I took one listen. I'm like, wow, we can do this. Yes. And of
Yeah,
course I
right
can
away, but
stand
35 seconds later after I said it to her, I'm in.
I
Mhm.
can
Where
stand
did you
behind
record it?
this.
We recorded. I have a very, believe it or not, just a very low-key studio in a guy's basement in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania.
Mm.
Okay.
He's absolutely amazing, but he does everything high quality. I trust him big time.
Like
And yeah.
You know, you no longer have to apologize for recording in your bedroom thanks to Billie Eilish and Phineas. It's like,
mm,
you don't have to ever apologize when someone wins a Grammy for recording an entire record in their bedroom.
my
Yeah, but you
Yeah.
car
gotta apologize if you record in Billie Eilish's recording studio in her
Well,
bedroom,
yeah, without
you know?
asking. Yeah, definitely.
Sorry, I had to
what
do it.
I mean, so
My
yeah, I
car is
mean,
the best producer. He's great.
Yeah, Michael Carr.
that's cool. That's so cool.
That is awesome.
So what are your plans for the song, John? I mean, are you
So the one of the caveats is I am signed to a thing called a record company called Deco Entertainment.
Okay.
They're a big record company. I'm on the same label as Brian Setzer from Stray Cats, Slash
cool?
from Guns N' Roses, Tiffany, the Guess Who, Dokken, Warrant. They're all on this label. A lot of other people are. I'm fortunate that they like my music. They signed me up. So on July 3rd, it's going to be released through them, through 88 Warner Music Group. So CC, our song is going to be released through Warner Music.
Excellent.
Nice.
Yeah, I see Dockin on there. Gosh.
Nice.
Yeah, you're in good company, dude. John
Yeah.
Well, John Entwistle was on there, but you need to let him know he's not going to make the next gig.
Stuff from John.
No. Oh, it's like the guy from the Moody Blues. You know, he made the contract with him, and I guess their family is still going. So he's on there too, John Lodge.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow, man.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Good for you. Good for you.
And they're really bringing it. What they're doing is they're putting out the records again, like Amazon Top 25. I think 15 of them are from that company. People are
Wow,
just buying the records like crazy that they're remaking and putting out for these legacy artists. It's pretty amazing.
That is so awesome.
But
Well, we wish you all the best. And Mark, unless you've got something else, I'll tell you, man, I'm just blown away. I'm so glad you guys took the time. And in fact, Cece's you're on vacation, I guess,
I
at the
am.
beach.
Jersey
you
Shore,
rascal.
baby.
If we'd have known she was at the beach, we would have come up and invaded and done a live podcast.
Yeah, just for all-
from
That
the
would have
beach.
been great. Yes, I've got
Yeah,
plenty
your,
of.
your brother-in-law probably wouldn't have thought so, but we would have had fun.
Nah, he's ready for a party.
Man, thank you guys so much for taking the time. And like I said, if you want me to hold off on it until it's released through your record company, I don't want to get anybody in any trouble. I don't want you to get any nasty grams from somebody, but
Yeah, no, that's okay. 'Cause that's to streaming services. I'd be honored for you guys to
I would love
let
to.
people listen to it because your podcast is and what you do at Zach's place is very important. And this song is for all of them just as much as for us.
Awesome.
Exactly,
Man,
because we all need to stand
fantastic.
for the flag. We all need to stand. God
Yeah,
bless
don't even
America.
get me started on that.
Yeah.
Don't even get me started.
Exactly.
Don't even get me started.
Should we even have to ask? I a lot of the time before I start my show, I sing the national anthem, like I mentioned before. And when I say,
Mhm.
"Can you please stand for the flag?" I think to myself, "Do I even have to say this?" But you do because
Unfortunately,
well,
you do.
correct.
Unfortunately, you do. So,
You know.
well, thank you guys both for standing for what's right and for writing and singing about it. So, I hope you guys have a great rest of your week, and thank you so much.
Thank you both
Absolutely.
very much.
Thank you guys. Thank you
Take
guys.
care.
Thanks,
Appreciate
God
guys.
bless.
Stand for the flag with your hand on your heart. This country's roots run deep from the start. Don't tear it down. We mend what's torn. We honor the ones who weathered the storm. Stand for the flag.
Hey, this is Mark and Craig with Songwriters Tales, and we need you to like,
Subscribe
comment.
and share.
See you soon, folks.
See ya. Let's do it.